If you're a brand new estate agent and you're struggling to get that all-important first instruction in your estate agency business, this video is going to talk you through the step-by-step process to build connections and trust with the right people in your local area who might be looking to sell their property soon. This is going to go through the exact process the top performing estate agents use to get their first instructions and build their businesses quickly. So what we're going to need to do in this situation is to go back a step before we can take a gigantic leap forward. So you just launched your estate agency business, and though to you, your estate agency might be a massive part of your world because it's a big thing you've just launched and it's sort of your baby that you've just brought into the world. So the rest of the public, they have no idea who you are, and this is a problem. So on average in the UK, the average estate agent will be competing against 12 other estate agents, and the public can name 3. So straight away, we have an issue. You're against 12 other agents and the public can name 3. So as you imagine, this is a problem because we want to make sure we are front and center of anybody who is looking to sell their property. So to get to that stage, what we need to do is have people in the local area know, like, and trust us. Therefore, when they think about selling their property in the future, they think about selling their property with ourselves, or at least calling us out in the future to give them a really good idea about how we could be the right agent to get them from point A to point B. So the big question goes to, how do we make sure people in the area know, like, and trust us? So if we're just launching a brand new business, it's going to be really hard to make sure everyone in your local town knows who you are without doing some enormous launch event, which is probably going to cost you a lot of money to do, which I'm going to hazard a guess and say you probably haven't got the budget to do that at the moment. So let's look at how we can make this as affordable as possible. The key numbers you need to know is 7, 11, and 4. So to go through these, number 7 is 7 hours worth of content. So if I sat down in front of a movie screen, for example, for 7 hours, by the end of that film, I can go, I trust that actor who I've seen on the screen. So I've seen 7 hours worth of their content. Therefore, I like them, don't like them, but at least I know who they are in general. The 11 is 11 marketing touch points. So have they seen me 11 times? I could drop 11 leaflets to your front door day after day after day after day, and you would know who I was. I was that annoying leaflet guy who put leaflets to your front door every single day, but at least you knew who I am in that situation. And the final part is 4. So 4 different mediums. So to think about this, you might go, right, they've seen my board on their street, they've seen my branded car, they've seen my leaflet, they've seen my letter. These bits are adding up over different platforms. What we don't want to be is kind of that person who's just on Facebook, for example, or that person who just has boards locally. We want to have that omnipresent marketing so they see us absolutely everywhere. This is when people say to you, I see your marketing everywhere, I see your boards, I see your car, I see your letters, I see your leaflets. This is a really good sign for your business, and that's where we want to get to. So what happens when we get to 7, 11, 4? Well, people would know, like, and trust you, which means that you're in a really good position to be instructed to sell their property, or at very least get called out to value their property because they know what you do and they know you're the right person for the job. Anytime you're a estate agency business, if you think to yourself, my phone's not ringing in my business as much as they could be, think to yourself, actually, how many marketing touch points have people had in my local area and how often have they had them? Are they up to 7 hours worth of content? Are they up to 11 marketing touch points, and have they those over 4 different mediums? The big one that agents usually struggle with is the 7 hours worth of content. This is where things like YouTube videos and podcasts can be really good to build up that trust should someone find your profile and really want to dig deep about who you are as a local estate agent. So now we know that's where we want to get to with regard to people in the local area. So we want people to know, like, and trust us. Let's look at spheres of influence in your business. So already you will have people in your world that you know, like, and trust already. So let's think about people that are really close to you. This is going to be friends, family, old work colleagues, for example, people that have spent a serious amount of time with you over the years you've been on this earth. These are people that know, like, and trust you already. So they are probably in your phone book right now. So you've got your phone out and said, right, who do I know who lives in the local area? Great, these are all people that I know in the local area who are going to know, like, and trust me already. So that is a brilliant place to start. What we don't want to have here is for you to go to the next family barbecue and for someone to come to you and say, what do you do again? Remind me what you do again. Is it you working for this estate agent again? Or did you launch on your own again? We want to avoid that. That is a sign that we have failed in this next task, because we want everyone in your phone book to know exactly what you're doing in your business. The mistake I see many agents make is they will go, oh, I'm launching my own estate agency business, by the way, don't tell anybody. And they wonder why they don't get that much traction, because no one knows what they're doing. As we spoke about earlier, it's a big deal to you, not a big deal to everyone else. So we've got friends, family, relatives, all within our phone book. So I would now look at this and go, right, what's the best way for us to touch base and communicate with these people? Well, the absolute best way would be a phone call or a personalized text message to every single person, even a video to every single person. But I'm very aware that is quite a serious undertaking. I think probably, let's think you've got 500 people in your phone book. That's probably going to take a fairly decent time to go through. And although that would be time really well spent, I think in reality, we kind of look at more of a sort of of bulk process to go through this. So what I've always done for this historically myself when I've launched businesses is literally to record a video. So this video might be something along the lines of, hey, hope you're okay. Just let you know, I've just launched my own estate agency business in Winchester. Tiny favor to ask, if you know anyone who might be looking to sell their property, rent out their property, or buy a property in the local area, can you do me a tiny favor and put me in touch with those people? And therefore I can have a quick chat with them. I'd really appreciate it. Speak to you soon. Goodbye. So as you can see, that's a really generic message. It's not a, hi Paul, how are you? Haven't seen you since last month. It is just a bulk message to go out to people to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is how you can help me. Really appreciate if you can connect me. Now, what we can do is go through and send that video out to our network within our phone book. You can go one by one and go on things like WhatsApp, for example, upload the video, send, upload the video, send, upload the video, send. But that is super boring and quite hard work in the grand scheme of things. Instead, what I would do in that situation is use broadcast lists on WhatsApp, which is a one-to-many way of messaging people, but the other person doesn't know it's a bulk message. So for example, if I was in your broadcast list, which can go up to 256 people, you could send me a message saying, hey, how are you? Do you want to go to the pub this weekend? And I would think it's a personalized message to me, but in reality, you've sent it to 50 other people. So that's a really smart way of contacting people in bulk in your phone book and getting across the message that this is who you are and this is what you're doing. Sure, you can send things like a text message, for example, or you could send a voice note, but I always find sending a video, people always respond back to that, even if it's just a, hey, nice video, really appreciate it, but I've not got anyone looking to buy or sell locally at the moment that I know of. Video is a really good way of doing this, so I'd focus in on that as much as we possibly can do. So that ticks off our inner circle of people that know, like, and trust you already. So therefore, let's go to the next ring out. So these are people that may know of you. They may not completely be in your phone book, for example, may not be besties and texting them every other Wednesday, but people that know you and they've dealt with you historically in the past. And these are generally people on social media that you have connections with. So if you look at how many people either you follow or they follow you on social media, whether that is, friends on Facebook, for example, or it's connections on LinkedIn, this is our next sphere of influence we're looking at. So now our next job is to go through and contact all those people. Sure, there's going to be some people on there that we've had a communication with already because they were in our phone book, for example. And yes, we don't need to contact those people. They've had a text message through or a video message through. So therefore they're kind of ticked off. And what we can do is pretty much exactly the same process. You can even use the same video we used from earlier, but instead of using broadcast lists, what we can do is just go through individually for each of those people and send that video across to them. Now, unfortunately, there's not a very easy way of bulk sending people to social media contacts. So this is a little bit of a case of quiet evening in, glass of wine, watching Netflix, and uploading that video multiple times to the platforms. But if you think about you launching a business, you think to yourself, look, I've got no potential clients in the local area. Well, actually, if you've got 400 people in your phone book and then you've got 5,000 people on social media, great. Well, you've got a pretty decent database to start things off with. So we just need to reach out with those people. It's a really sharp way of getting in contact with people who in some way know, like, and trust you already because they follow you on social media. Therefore, they must have some connection with you historically. Okay, so let's move out to the next sphere after this. So we've gone from people that are within your phone book, people that know, like, and trust you already, people that are on your social media accounts, and they must in some way know, like, and trust you as well, to now people that have some sort of shared connection with you. So these are going to be people who your kids might go to the same school that they do, for example, or they might be in the same badminton club that you are, for example. They might go to the same gym that you go to, for example. They've got something in common with you. So therefore, we want to make full use of these contacts that you've either got in your phone book or you've got community pages, for example. So I'm sure people want to support a local business. So if you put on the local Facebook group, for example, hey, just let you know, I'm launching my own estate agency business. I love living here in Winchester and I really want to help Winchester homeowners find their next property. If anyone's looking to buy or sell, get them to give me a quick call. Great. You're launching a business into people that kind of know, like, and trust you in that sphere already. Now, the more local that can be, the better. So if you go onto the local Facebook group for your estate or development, for example, you're going to get far better traction than you will do saying, hey guys, I've launched a business in Hampshire. Can anyone recommend any buyers or sellers? Because they don't really know who you are. It's a very big group with tens, even maybe hundreds of thousands of members in it. Whereas if you do it in a really small area where it might be only 100 people, 1,000 people in the local Facebook group, we'll get far better traction because people like to support local people in their businesses. And especially in the UK, we love an underdog. So you say you've started the business and this is how you can help me, people are really inclined to try and help you out as much as they possibly can do. Okay, so now we would look at the outer ring of our sphere of influence. Now these are pretty much going to be strangers to you and your business. So although they might live in your local community, for example, they don't really know who you are from anybody else in the local area. This is when you get lots of sort of classic marketing messages going out there. So things like door knocking, leaflet dropping, letters to people on the market, letters to withdrawn properties, for example. I would start with anything anything you've got in common with that person. So for example, if I've got a buyer looking in your street, I would start there. You'll get a better conversion with saying, I've got a buyer looking in your street, their name is Jeff and they've got 2 dogs and they look to upsize, rather than just aimlessly saying, do you want to sell your property? So if you've got anybody looking in that area, I would start there first of all. If you've got any properties that historically you have sold and you're okay to advertise off the back of it, great, you can do that as well, because a message that says we've just sold in your area will get a better conversion than just saying, do you want to sell your property in the local area? So I'd always start with any sort of inroads, you've got those sort of strangers straight away, and then go out from there. But once you've ticked those boxes off, you're effectively getting yourself in front of as many people as you possibly can do. Please remember that no one knows you as a business. You're literally brand new. So the only way is up from this. You can't go to kind of like -1 awareness. So therefore, the only thing you can do is build awareness by getting in front of more and more and more people. And I'm willing to bet if you're watching this video, you probably think to yourself, I'm a great valuer, I'm a great estate agent, I'm great at listing properties, I'm great at selling properties. I just need to get in front of more people and get the opportunity to sell more homes. Well, great. This is your chance to go through those rings of influence and spheres of influence to then go, actually, how can I get in front of more people so I can show off how great I am at selling properties? So as you can see, by working your ways through your spheres of influence, you see that getting your first instruction on the market isn't just luck. It's a process you should go through, and you should be ticking each of these boxes off as you go through it. It's about starting off with people that know, like, and trust you already, and then working outwards through your spheres until eventually you've got people who are complete strangers to your business that you're getting your marketing message in front of on a regular basis. So they're building up to people that know, like, and trust you in your local area. If you'd like more help getting either your first instruction or your 100th instruction on the market in your estate agency business, you can download a free copy of my best-selling book, Your First £100,000 Estate Agency. Just pop over to Instagram and DM us the word book, and that'll come straight across to yourself.